Many boys use the unicorn.
Well, boys.
You need a little brushing up on equality over here. That's why.
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 20 celebs who shot down homophobic interview questions.
Why would I go into that when I can make a fortune by writing a book about it? Why should I give it to you for free?
For this list, we'll be looking at LGBTQ plus celebs and their allies who shut down or clapped back at inappropriate, invasive, or offensive inquiries. Can you recall any other interviewers who needed calling out? Let us know in the comments. Number 20, Ariana Grande. You might remember this as the interview where Grande called out the hosts when they asked her a super sexist question.
If you could use makeup or your phone one last time, which one would you pick? Makeup or your phone?
Is this what you think girls have trouble choosing between?
Yeah, absolutely.
But it wasn't her only clapback in the conversation. During an exchange about the newest emoji updates, Grande singled out the unicorn as one of her favorites. One of the hosts wasted no time implying that the unicorn is beloved only by girls and boys, whatever that's supposed to mean. The singer was even faster to fire back and suggested that the Power 106 FM hosts brush up on their equality.
Boys versus men.
Okay, yeah.
You know?
Okay.
You know? All right.
No, men.
You're right.
Who says the unicorn emoji isn't for men? Come on.
Is it?
We commend her for just how calm and easygoing she remained, because we were seething the whole way through.
Real men use the unicorn emoji and aren't afraid.
That's a quote.
Quote right there.
Number 19, Ellen DeGeneres.
And I don't really know her, and I'm trying to understand it because I don't fully understand it either. But I also want everyone to be happy.
In a slight deviation from our other entries, this interview sees Ellen discussing Caitlyn Jenner's conservative views with Howard Stern. The former daytime talk show host vented her frustrations over how Jenner sought acceptance for herself after coming out as transgender, but drew the line at marriage equality.
You're wanting people to understand and accept you. This is like really confusing to people, and you still have a judgment about gay people and marriage.
When Stern asked if the pair danced together, Ellen said they had not, but she wasn't sure whether that was because the former Olympian wasn't much of a dancer or because of DeGeneres' sexual orientation. Sure, Jenner wasn't present for this interview, but if she had been, we have no doubt she'd have been called out by everyone present.
There's a person on TV crying that, hey, I want to be myself, I want to be genuine.
I had to hide my entire life.
I don't want people to ridicule me.
Yeah.
And then says in the same breath, gee, gay marriage, I don't get it. You know, it's remarkable.
Number 18, Anna Paquin. In 2010, True Blood's Anna Paquin came out as bisexual. Apparently, this confused talk show host Larry King since she's married to Stephen Moyer, a man.
Are you a non-practicing bisexual?
I am married to my husband, and we are happily monogamously married.
But you were bisexual.
Well, I don't think it's a past tense thing.
Paquin looked taken aback initially, but calmly and politely explained why his assumptions were illogical. The actress did an excellent job of clarifying that one's relationship status isn't necessarily indicative of their sexuality.
Are you still straight if you're with somebody? I mean, it doesn't mean you're not, if you were to break up with them or they were to die, it doesn't prevent your sexuality from
Stop
existing.
with wishful thinking, okay?
No, I'm just saying, it doesn't really work like that.
She also discussed the importance of education and exposure to knock out ignorance. It's hard to tell if she convinced the host since he swiftly changed the subject, but we were cheering her on the entire time.
I just never thought it was a big deal or sort of there was no stigma.
Number 17, David Bowie. When the Heroes singer came out in the 70s, it seemed like everyone and their mother had an opinion. Publications tried to define his sexuality, and he dealt with some pretty invasive questions. He later told Playboy that he was bisexual and eventually backtracked, calling himself a closet heterosexual.
I was incredibly promiscuous.
I bet you were.
And I think we'll leave it at that.
No, we can't.
Still, Bowie's journey of self-discovery and fluidity remained of great interest to many. British talk show host Jonathan Ross quite crassly questioned the artist's sexual orientation when he appeared on his show in 2002.
Were you bisexual? Were you pansexual? Were you trisexual? Because I thought being gay was a bit like the Foreign Legion. Once you joined, I didn't think you were allowed back.
I was just very, I just got my leg over a lot.
Bowie responded with plenty of wit and sass, ultimately giving Ross nothing but stealing the show at the same time.
The answer that I have for you would probably create such turmoil in your soul.
You know what? It
that
probably
I'm not
would.
sure that you could actually withstand it.
Number 16, Chris Evans.
People are starting to forget Space Rangers ever mattered.
Well, I'm about to fix that. To infinity
and beyond.
In retaliation to the Don't Say Gay bill, Lightyear creators restored the film's previously cut kiss between Alicia Hawthorne and her wife. It's a blink and you'll miss it moment, but it still caused plenty of outrage and led the movie to be banned in multiple countries. When asked about it, the movie's star, Chris Evans, said that he's delighted they included it, but less pleased by how big a deal the moment was in the first place.
The goal is that we can get to a point where it is the norm, and that this doesn't have to be some uncharted waters, that eventually this is just the way it is.
He also fired back at the scene's critics, calling those up in arms idiots. Evans certainly doesn't mince his words, and we are so here for it.
Look, it's an honor to be a part of something that is taking those steps. But the goal is to look back on this time and just be shocked that it took us this long to get there.
Number 15, Ryan Reynolds. During an interview with HuffPost Live, Reynolds was asked about those who stated they were defecting to Canada after SCOTUS ruled in favor of same-sex marriage. This followed a tweet where he hilariously pointed out that it was already legal in his home country.
That's a true story. Your American dollar will go very far in Canada right now. About 23 cents in the dollar farther.
When the reporter asked the actor about his thoughts on same-sex marriage, he responded rather endearingly.
I'm not a monster. I think it's fantastic. I think it's it's been legal in Canada for 10 years now. So.
It seemed like a bit of a pointless question, given his evident support for the LGBTQ+ community. But if anyone had a shadow of a doubt before, they certainly knew he was an ally after. Just as we thought, we could not love him more.
We shouldn't be in a state of awe and celebration for it. We should be taking it for granted, like regular marriage at this point. It sort of feels like it's I don't know. It seems like we're way late on that here in the United States.
Number 14, Jodie Foster.
Do you have a steady boyfriend?
No, I don't have time.
Now, this is a moment that aged like fine wine. Growing up in Hollywood, we can only imagine that Jodie Foster became increasingly exhausted with the relentless interest in her love life. In 1979, at only 17 years old, an interviewer asked her if she had a boyfriend and pressed for more details about her ideal man.
What kind of fella would you like, really, when you do have time to get around to that?
It would still be some time until Foster would come out publicly, but that smirk definitely felt like a sneer at the heteronormative assumption. The recently resurfaced clip has been memed countless times and branded as gay silence.
17-year-old Jodie Foster may play frivolous roles, but in real life, she's got it all together.
Number 13, Heath Ledger. In 2005, the late Aussie actor gave an award-winning performance as Ennis Del Mar in the Western romantic drama Brokeback Mountain.
What are we gonna do now?
Oh, Dad, there's nothing we can do.
Same-sex relationships were rarely spotlighted at the time, even less so in such a mainstream market. During a press junket, a reporter asked the actor to respond to those who branded the movie's central love story as, quote, disgusting.
I think it's a real shame. I think it's immature, for one. Really immature.
Ledger could have let his performance in the film speak for itself, but instead, he left no doubt about his feelings. He made it clear that he had no time for those kinds of attitudes, and highlighted the all-important humanity of the two characters at the center of the story.
We're showing that love between two men is just as infectious and emotional and strong and pure as it is with heterosexual love. And if you can't understand that, then just don't go see the movie.
Number 12, Judy Garland. Once labeled by The Advocate as the Elvis of the LGBTQ+ community, Garland has always fondly been thought of as a tremendous ally. Take this interview from the 1960s when she was questioned about her gay fan base.
Time magazine in a recent story said that Judy Garland, for some reason, which was not clear to me, attracts a lot of homosexuals in her audience.
I think that's the most ridiculous thing.
Garland wasted no time maintaining that her art was for everyone. She also politely stated that she wouldn't stand for anyone coming after her fans.
I'll be damned if I like to have my audience mistreated.
This is the woman who encouraged plenty of queer youth to live their lives openly somewhere over the rainbow, so we wouldn't expect any different. Years ahead of her time, Garland was an icon through and through.
Birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh why can't I?
Number 11, Jane Fonda. In 2020, an interview of Fonda defending the LGBTQ+ community during a 1979 interview resurfaced and went viral. In it, she can be heard warding off a stream of homophobic questions and doubling down on her support.
Are they using you, or are you using for your economic democratic campaign?
I hope they use me. What am I here for if not to be used by good people for good things?
This interview seems to have taken place around the time of the San Francisco White Night riots that followed the assassination of Harvey Milk, with whom she was reportedly friends. Fonda delivers a masterclass on true allyship and shows that this is a case she cares for deeply.
What this movement is seeking, which is nothing less than respect and justice, and stopping discrimination against people because of sexual preference, you're on the side of the angels.
How she keeps her cool is beyond us, because the questions are absolutely awful. But Fonda's never shied away from fighting for what's right, even when she's standing alone.
And so if we're going to survive as a world, and we may not, but if we do, they're going to win.
Number 10, Johnny Galecki. Rumors regarding the Big Bang Theory actor's sexuality have always been rife. However, he never really addressed them.
Now that we know you're not gay, can you tell us if you have a girlfriend?
Galecki initially looks confused when the hosts absent-mindedly throw his sexuality and relationship status into the conversation. He explains that since there's not much bad press on him out there, people need to make up stories. Galecki added that he has no reason or desire to respond to those whispers.
Because I always figured, why defend yourself against something that's not offensive, so.
In hindsight, host Whoopi Goldberg notes the ridiculousness of the conversation, but it's too late. It's already out there.
I should have looked at it before I said it. But it's like, now that, oh man, okay. Sorry about that.
Kudos to Galecki for giving such a classy and respectful response. Number 9, George Michael. The late, great George Michael was a huge advocate for LGBTQ+ rights and unapologetic about his sexuality.
I have no problem with people knowing that I'm in a relationship with a man right now. I have not been in a relationship with a woman for almost 10 years.
He used his platform to campaign for causes close to his heart, such as HIV/AIDS awareness. Society and Michael's career kept him in the closet for years until an incident in 1998 led to his arrest and forced him to come out. In subsequent years, he criticized mainstream media for trying to box the LGBTQ+ community into, quote, doing what makes straight people comfortable.
I was just so indignant at the way I'd been treated until then. I was just thought, well, I'll just hold on to this. I don't think they need to know. I don't think I should have to tell them.
He also blasted homophobes in many an interview. Michael was never interested in their views or perceptions of him beyond his music. He also declared that he has, quote, nothing to apologize for.
The main thing I like to express is that I don't think it's anybody's business.
Too right, George Michael, too right. Number 8, Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy's a talented actor who's given us gripping performances in movies like Locke, Mad Max, and The Drop. However, a reporter from Daily Extra wasn't interested in any of that.
Your own sexuality seems a bit more ambiguous. Do you find it hard for celebrities to talk to media about their sexuality?
What on earth are you on about?
During a press conference promoting Hardy's Legend at the Toronto International Film Festival, a correspondent tried to get Hardy to speak about his personal life. The actor eloquently and calmly called out the invasive question and quickly shut it down.
Are you asking me about my sexuality?
Sure.
Why?
What?
Thank you.
Okay.
He later explained that he isn't obliged to answer personal queries and called the question, quote, inelegant and humiliating and, quote, quite rude. What's baffling is that it came from an LGBTQ+ publication. You would think they'd understand how personal sexuality can be. In any case, Hardy's well-mannered and even-tempered response was perfect.
Yeah, you're not laughing now, are you?
Number 7. Paul McCartney. When you have a musical legend as major as a former Beatle on your show, we imagine you'd have a lot of questions. Asking how rock star bachelor life compares to marriage probably shouldn't even break the top 100, but McCartney rolls with it.
When you're that age, that's the kind of thing to do. I mean, what you're doing is you're going around and you're basically looking for girls or whatever turns you on and stuff.
While his response is very nonchalant, the host seems thrown by the idea that the world isn't entirely heterosexual.
Could you give me the alternatives to girls? Are there others?
Yes, boys.
Oh.
McCartney's dry retort and his wife's bemused expression tell us what they think about the boneheaded question. The singer can't help getting in one final jibe at the presenter before moving the conversation forward.
So we're very free thinking these days, Tom.
While Snyder's inquiry was bad, the McCartney's response only makes us love them more. Number 6. Melissa Etheridge. While appearing on The View, the singer-songwriter expressed her disappointment over Proposition 8, which invalidated same-sex marriages in California.
To actually see human rights be up for a vote in this Proposition 8 and to have people vote to take away rights is, to me, at the core, is very un-American.
She politely called out The View co-host Elizabeth Hasselbeck for misleading viewers on the matter in a previous episode. After a mildly heated debate over marriage equality, Etheridge point-blankly asked Hasselbeck whether she was a supporter of same-sex marriage. The presenter refused to answer the question and simply repeated that Prop 8 wasn't personal to her.
For me, it's just a legal issue. I think that it should come from the people. I don't think activist judges should be deciding what's right for the rest of the country.
Okay. We admire Etheridge's ability to stay cool, calm, and collected in this tense situation. The debate ended with Sherry Shepherd sending the singer to perform her song and suggesting they continue the discussion at a later date.
Thomas Jefferson wrote a paper on the rights of the minority should never be voted on by the direct democracy, by the majority. That should never happen.
Number 5. Lady Gaga. Remember when the media and public obsessed over Lady Gaga's genitalia? Well, one person who had no intention of jumping on that bandwagon was the Born This Way singer herself. She was usually known to crack jokes about these baseless claims with her fans during concerts, and she had the best response to these rumors when she was asked about them during a 60 Minutes Overtime interview with Anderson Cooper. Rather than confirm whether or not it's true, she ridiculed the entire conversation.
Why the hell am I going to waste my time and give a press release about whether or not I have a penis? My fans don't care, and neither do I.
Gaga's LGBTQ+ fans applauded her for refusing to validate the gossip. They thanked her for standing up for them in a world that tries to shame them for who they are.
We're hoping to speak to people who feel different, who feel disconnected.
People who feel disconnected from society or disenfranchised, feel like a freak, feel like you don't belong, like you don't fit in, or you'll never be great.
Number 4. Janet Mock. In 2014, transgender activist and director-producer Janet Mock appeared on Piers Morgan's show to promote her book, Redefining Realness. However, the presenter seemed more interested in discussing her transition.
In 2009, you meet a man, and you fall in love with this man, but there's something you have to tell him, something pretty big you have to tell him that he doesn't know, which is that you used to be yourself a man.
Morgan showed a disrespectful lack of understanding or compassion for the transgender experience. The Pose executive producer called out Morgan for trying to use her life for entertainment value and for his, quote, reductive thinking about gender.
Further showed other people in my community that if Janet Mock can be misgendered, if she can be labeled something that she is not, then what does that mean for me?
She later appeared on The Colbert Report to discuss the contentious interview. In 2017, the Breakfast Club presenters and their guest, Lil Duval, made horrendously offensive comments about trans women and mocked her book. This prompted Mock to write a powerful essay for Allure. She'd had enough of the ignorance and implored people to educate themselves.
Does it ever make you feel like, I don't gotta make you understand?
Most in my everyday life, that's how I feel.
Number 3, Madonna. Madonna is arguably one of the LGBTQ+ community's biggest allies. In 1991, while promoting her Truth or Dare documentary, the singer was questioned about her openness to sex and sexuality. She said that the lack of conversation surrounding these subjects contributed to some of society's biggest problems.
If it provokes an open discussion about sex,
with their parents, I think this is a really good thing.
Madonna hoped her actions and the dialogue they created would better educate young people and help them become more accepting of others. The Vogue singer also called out the hypocrisy over the double standards in American media.
We already have these videos that display degradation to women and violence that are played 24 hours a day, but yet they don't want to have a video playing that deals with sex between two consenting adults.
In another interview, when challenged over how her documentary could offend homophobes, Madonna made it very clear that she could not care less.
Your fans will love the film, I think, but some people are going to find sections of it offensive.
Well, that's their problem, though.
You don't care?
No, of course not.
Number 2, Ricky Martin. In 2010, Ricky Martin decided to live life as an out and proud gay man. But the Livin' La Vida Loca singer often found his sexuality at the center of the rumor mill before this point. In 2000, journalist Barbara Walters tried to push a visibly uncomfortable Martin to address his sexuality in a televised interview.
You know, you could stop these rumors. You could say, as many artists have, yes, I am gay, or you could say, no, I'm not. Or you could leave it as you are, ambiguous.
Watching her force him into the hot seat is incredibly painful to watch. Years later, he recalled how violated he felt by her incessant questioning. He added that trying to force someone to come out was just wrong.
If you have an egg and you open it from the outside, only death comes out. But if the egg opens up from the inside, life comes out. So be careful.
In 2006, Walters acknowledged that her invasive questions were out of line.
Unless someone is openly gay and happy to talk about it, it's nobody's business, including mine.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1, Laverne Cox. This actress and LGBTQ+ activist is a fierce advocate for transgender equality and visibility. Cox never shies away from educating on transgender issues and has no problem putting people in their place when necessary.
My transition was about me existing in public space and thriving in society, and because I was able to do that, I've been able to thrive. That's all we want.
On one occasion, she politely explained to Wendy Williams what it means to be transgender while refusing to engage in conversation about her breasts. Cox also clapped back at Travis Weber when he insisted that trans women shouldn't be allowed to use female bathrooms.
I think it's important when we have conversations with and about transgender people that we do not reduce us to body parts. We are more than the sum of our parts.
However, the most famous occasion might be when she overheard Katie Couric asking model Carmen Carrera inappropriate and uncomfortable questions about her physical appearance. Cox stepped in and respectfully explained why questions like these are problematic.
The preoccupation with transition and with surgery objectifies trans people, and then we don't get to really deal with the real lived experiences, the reality of trans people's lives.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.